Hiya, hiya. It's guilt by association. You're known by the company you keep, and sometimes it's really rough. Today, it's Johnny Ciao, and Johnny is best known for being probably for being a friend of Michael Jackson. It's probably the best known thing, and also worked over there at the at that great amusement park which he opened at one time. And I'm probably best known for being Les Paul's friend, which I would like to share with you. The Les Paul Society, which was a legitimate guitar group or a group of hacks. You know, they were people who I referred to them as the gang twang. And the Les Paul Society officially was since he's from Jersey, it was a finger society. I'll give you a little bit of the look here. This is the Finger Fantasy Les Paul Society.
Oh, I love that T-shirt.
This is Les Paul giving the world the finger. That's not the one you play with. He would then be sharing his great talents with all the other Jersey drivers.
I got a Les Paul ukulele.
You do. He did not play a ukulele, John. All right, so what did you do with Michael Jackson? I share what I did with Les Paul. I did his laundry. How about you?
Listen, you know, it kills me these days. Everyone, all the major television shows I've done, Joey, you know, from the day and all over the world, actually, everyone wants to know about Michael Jackson.
That's why I brought it up and get it out of the way.
Oh, yeah, let me smack my head in the head. Boom, boom. Anyway, listen, here's the thing. Quickly, Michael was the most sincere, the most courteous, and the most down-to-earth celebrity that I've been with. And you know me, I got a list that goes a mile long, from Willie Nelson to Hank Aaron to the Grateful Dead. So Michael was always a sweetheart. And the only question I get, Joey, you know, you've been on a lot of shows and you've been doing radio for years, because I keep getting this question of, did he do this? Did he do that? Hey, you know what I tell him? I've been with so many celebrities. First of all, Michael was so nice and so sweet. Never seen a thing go down that people...
Wait. Did you say Dago?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh,
Who do you think I am? Listen, I've been thrown off Facebook a few times for saying nothing. I said men are idiots one time, and Zuckerberg threw me out. And another time I said women are lost in space. Zuckerberg threw me out. 3 days in Facebook prison.
So back to the story. I stopped you. I'm sorry.
All right. Anyway, Michael was the best. And when I got there, I was brought in when he just bought Neverland in Santa Ynez Valley in Santa Barbara. As you know, beautiful ride. If you go the 101 Kachuma Pass up to Santa Barbara, it's just the most beautiful.
Not now, not since the mudslides, but keep going.
All right. Well, anyway, so, you know, I was in San Francisco because I had an office in Beverly Hills, and I took an apartment in San Francisco to get the hell out of LA for a while. And my good friend who I was managing, because I was in management for years. People don't realize that. Johnny Chow, they think of chef. My real name, John Persico. I was in management, production. But anyway, so this friend of mine goes, let's move up to I got a beautiful home right in a beautiful area overlooking the ocean in San Francisco. I said, all right, let's go. What the hell? I got to get out of LA. I'm tired of this. So I got out of LA, went up there, and I met Bill Graham. And as you know, he was Fillmore East, Fillmore West, right? Manager of the Grateful Dead. And did a little party, and it was Elliot Mintz, who was actually John Lennon's advisor. John Elliot, great guy. And Don Johnson's sister, who wanted to be a singer. And Bill Graham, that was it at the party.
Are we playing a game to how many names you could drop in one sentence?
Oh, I could drop a lot. But anyway, the point, listen, this is the point. This is how I got to Michael Jackson, was that Bill Graham hired me. He said, I want you to do the Bambies. I said, I'm not a caterer. I have no idea how to cook for people. He goes, don't worry, it's backstage. It's only 100. I said, 100? Well, I'm not a caterer. So I went to my Italian friend's restaurant in North Beach, Joey, and I went to Walmart and bought or Kmart at that time. It was no Walmart. I bought a big garbage can, and we filled it up with my pasta salad. And he said, Hard Rock Cafe will be there with their chili. So I made pasta salad for 1,000 people. And meanwhile, I went there and met Carlos Santana, the Grateful Dead, Huey Lewis, Buddy Miles. I got a story about him. That's for another show. At any rate, I had a lot of leftover food, Joey. You know, I like to cook. And all of a sudden, I said, I'm going to go on the streets of San Francisco and feed some of the homeless people out there. Because even back in the 80s, the late 80s, there was tons of homeless people. Yeah. So I went out and I started feeding homeless people.
Good for you.
Police came. Oh, yes. SF San Francisco PD. Yeah, Johnny, where are you? They looking for me. So they put me in handcuffs, put me in the back of a squad car, and they said, what are you doing? I said, I'm feeding homeless people. You need a license, buddy. I said, well, listen, I just finished doing this. Bing, 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 bing. They made a phone call. I got off. But the next day, Herb Caen, who was a famous columnist.
Writer. Yeah, he's a columnist in San Francisco in the Chronicle.
Right. He writes me up. Johnny Ciao nearly arrested for feeding homeless. Next thing I know, I'm doing more parties backstage than ever. Then all of a sudden I get this call. Somebody says, this agent that books like, you know, household help, like butlers and this. Where'd they get me from? I never applied for a job. I never had a job in my life. And they said, would you like to interview some Hispanic woman? I said, interview for who? She goes, oh, it's a famous person. He needs somebody. And I said, okay, well, who is it? It's Michael Jackson. I said, I'll go on the interview. I don't care if I get the gig. So I went on the interview. I went to Century City, California, right there on Wilshire Boulevard. And I went into the office of Michael's corporate people. I don't want to mention names because then I'll go into a whole nother story and we don't have enough time. So Bill Bray's there and he goes, yeah, Mike. And there was no Mike. And he must have been looking in on a camera back in those days because there was no Mike. And I'm thinking, who am I interviewing with? Next day, I get a phone call in the morning. They said, Michael would like to meet you. Would you come to Neverland? I said, yeah, shit, I'll take a ride to Neverland just for the fun of it. So I went to Neverland. Michael had a mask on. Now, we're all wearing masks. Michael's been wearing masks for years.
And gloves.
And gloves. So this is ironic that you were talking about this because I go up there and he's got the mask on and he's running through and he wouldn't even talk to me. You know, before me, he had a Sikh Indian chef. So you look at me, you know me, Joey, and sitting next to me is a Sikh. No, it wasn't, but can you imagine a Sikh Indian and Johnny Ciao? Wow. Anyway, I got the gig. And I hadn't had a real gig since I worked at the Ford plant when I was 15 years old in Mahwah, New Jersey. I've been an entrepreneur. That's the story of my new series and book coming out called Eating Life, my third book. And it's about being an entrepreneur, Joey, like you know, in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, not even the 90s, but maybe the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where you really could be an entrepreneur in the entertainment business. Yeah. Something that's been lost. Joey, am I talking too much? Do you want to talk?
Well, you're going to play music? Talk. I want to hear what your story is. No, I'm loving your story. Come on.
All right. So
there's no such thing. There's no such thing as too much talk.
Oh, you're the best. Joey Reynolds, the most famous. I love Joey Reynolds. Anyway, Joey, so thank you so much, first of all, for having me on. But so I'm there and I go to Neverland and I said, all right, I'm going to take a vacation. I gave up I had beautiful homes in the Hollywood Hills, by the way, you know, the views and all this. And I gave it up. I said, I'm going to go to San Francisco. And, well, I had a pad in San Francisco. So then I went to Neverland. So I had a pad in San Francisco on Russian Hill. And then I was in Neverland. So I said, what do I need the pad at Russian Hill for? I'm in the middle of 2,700 acres. So the first night I get there, Joey, it's dark as can be. I go outside, and I almost get run down by a wild pig, okay? And I said, I'm from Brooklyn. What do I know about pigs? And anyway, I was flipping out. I said, this is going to be a trip. I knew it from that moment on. But the best part of it, because I really, you know, we could go on forever about Michael. The best part of it was dealing with Michael on an everyday basis on a personal level. I lived in the same house, by the way. On one end, he lived on the other end. Never saw anything funny going on, so let's get that out of the way. So the best part, Joey, was when I was had his guest came, Marlon Brando, Gregory Peck and his wife, um, Whitney Houston, Barry Gordy. So here I am taking Whitney Houston for horseback rides in Neverland. Here I am hanging out with Marlon Brando when he put his stinky feet up on the chair on the table while I'm feeding him dinner. Here I am hanging out with Gregory Peck, who was the best, by the way. Gregory Peck and Willie Nelson, to me, and Merle Haggard, gotta tell you, probably the best celebrities I ever hung out with. And Charlie Daniels and Brenda Lee. I love the country folk. But anyway, Brando used to come up. We had 4 guest houses, so they would stay in the houses, and we had the best of everything. It was like the AAA, quadruple A hotel rooms. 76 Rothschilds, 55 Haute Brion. I had the best of the wines and everything in there. Meanwhile, the only guy who drank wine was Rick Dees.
Just joking. Now, you know this thing with Merle Haggard. You mentioned that. I had Mark Elliott on the show, and he's writing a book about him now. He's been working on it for a long time, and he's from Bakersfield. I learned that. I thought he was in Nashville, but it's a great. He's a great guy.
Well, Bakersfield was big.
They both. I mean, Mark is a great guy. I don't know Merle Haggard, but you know Merle Haggard.
Well, I knew Willie better, but when I did the Willie Nelson picnic, that's another great story. Because Joel Katz, who is a pretty well-known music business attorney, was partners with my partner Kip. Kip was involved with the legal aspects. I was involved with Kip on other issues, the entertainment stuff. And so when Willie moved the picnic from Austin to Atlanta in 1983, Joel said, "Come on down," because I was in production back then. Okay, I mean, I go back to being Johnny Snow on the radio, the first black guy to work first white guy to work on a black radio station back in 1975 in Florida. I walked into a black radio station, and the program director was black owned, black run, black DJs, and the guy goes, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, I want to work here." "You want to work here?" Skinny New York Italian guy comes into his station. You know what he did? He put me in the control room to do a demo. That would never happen today, right, Joey?
Well, yeah, there's no disc jockeys anymore.
No, but there's no independent stations where you can walk in, talk to, you know what I mean? You got serious, we're going to walk into a corporate station, they'll throw you out. They'll call the police, think you're a terrorist. Anyway, so that was my first gig, but I forget now, a Willie Nelson picnic. So Joel he says, "Come on down." So I was doing a series, television series for the Nashville network when it first had started. And I had Boy George, I had Bob Giraldi, who did Michael Jackson's videos. I had, and I did the Willie picnic, right?
Yeah.
So I went down with the film crew, and I thought I was a hot shot. I had a condo I was living in Atlanta, had a heliport. So I said, "I'm going to rent a helicopter. I'm going down to Willie's picnic." I got the film crew. And at that time, you had big Ikegami cameras. You had the recorders. It wasn't like today where you got this one thing, right? You're talking about heavy equipment to go down. So we fly the helicopter down, right? And all of a sudden, they say you can't land. Air control. What do you mean? Well, there's about 15 other helicopters. We had to land the helicopter about a mile away from the stage, carry all that heavy equipment into the Willie picnic. There you go, for thinking you were fake.
Did Willie roll you a fat one?
Well, let me tell you what happened. I'll give you a quick story. I don't know how much time we have here, but what happened is we wound up getting the equipment in, and we were filming. We had Linda Ronstadt, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, the Stray Cats. It was a killer show.
Yeah.
And I'm backstage, and then Joel Katz tells Willie, "This guy's a hell of a cook." And I said, "Joel, what are you doing? What do you want me to do?" So Willie goes, "Well, we got some cans of beans over here, man. We got some fresh prawns at Bobby Bear, or somebody, one of the country stars flew in from Louisiana. I said, you know what? All right, I'll do something. I made a pasta fagioli. I took the beans and I made a pasta fagioli with fresh prawns from Louisiana. And that's in my second book called Concert Kitchen, Willie's Texas Stew. And what that has in it is, I twisted the old Italian. Come on, Joey. We use garlic, right? So I put ginger and I put cilantro and I made jalapenos and I made a pasta fagioli, kind of Texas style.
Was there any marijuana in it at the
time?
There
was marijuana. Let me tell you something. There was definitely marijuana in the trailer. When I walked into the trailer, it was Linda Ronstadt, Merle Haggard, Willie, and Waylon sitting there. The smoke-filled trailer. And they all stopped smoking, and they looked at me like, who the hell is this guy?
Did they have the munchies?
Yeah, we had barbecue, we had all kinds of stuff, and then I made that special dish for those guys. So that was the start of Johnny.
So you became Johnny Ciao, right? You were the guy who was known for making food for the stars.
Always.
All right, and then you evolved into the Spice Man. Now we're getting into the root of all of this stuff, which is the adding of the CBDs and the oil from the marijuana and some of the things that you have created these days, which are now legal in some places.
Well, we'll only do the cannabis. I have CBD products, but I also have cannabis and fused olive oil and honey.
Right, and bread. You make the bread too.
Well, the bread has been on hold because the bread has been. I won an award with my vegetable bread.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I had it selling everywhere from Bloomingdale's to Gelson's in LA.
Is marijuana a vegetable?
The marijuana is an herb.
Oh, it's not a vegetable then.
No, I don't think so.
But is garlic a vegetable?
Listen, marijuana can turn you into a vegetable.
Yeah, that's true. Not really.
Well, especially these days. Listen, Joey, come on. I grew up when we had, if we want to get into the marijuana. I mean,
well, no, wait. Let's a couple of things straight. First of all, you asked me earlier how much time you have. How old are you now?
I'm going to be 64 October 21st.
And you got a couple more years. That's the answer to your question about how much time do we have. Now let's get into the other part of it, which is what you're doing for a living right now. I would love to hear that because you have this great background. I mean, we all know the celebrities and you cooked for them and none of them died from your food, but they're all gone.
They're all dead.
Yeah. I hope it's not from the Spice Man.
So there's a fourth book coming out called Cooking for the Dead, and it's not the grave.
Now, we should tell everybody that I was going to do a thing with Johnny Ciao in Las Vegas. What I wanted to do was I wanted to film Johnny Ciao, or tape him, whatever we call it, digitalitize him. Boy, that's a word. I wanted to take Johnny and his great recipes for marijuana, which could be medical, but we were going to go to the states where they were legal. It was legal. It's legal in Nevada, I think, now, and it became legal in Colorado and California now. So we were going to go to the casinos, which were owned by the Indians, who would know more about herbs than the Indians. And the peyote is peyote marijuana? Was that marijuana?
No.
Is that a whole other plant?
Yes, indeed. But we don't want to talk about that. The point is, you're right. We were going to do this thing, and I've been ahead of the curve. I had you and I developed a show, right?
That was going to be about cooking with marijuana.
Right.
And we were going to put it in the casinos and call it Potluck.
Well, that Potluck was going to be the live version, but the show itself, Potluck, you and I were the first. Now Netflix has a series with a bunch of stoned out 20-year-olds doing recipes that don't even know how to cook.
Oh, those are the influencers. Excuse me, I keep forgetting. We're influencers.
Listen, I still have...
Wait. We're studying influenza, not influencers.
You're right. It's pretty close, man. But the thing is, I have the pilots. I have everything we wrote together on that show, right? And this is kind of been the story of my life. No. You're not done with your life. No, but I'm saying.
It's a big story.
Ahead of the curve and dealing with agents who Steve Edwards in Los Angeles, the host of many great shows, once told me, Johnny, he said, if you're dealing with an agent, you need to take a shot.
Well, you need Agent Orange. So, you know, the guy you were dealing with was Sammy Kaplan.
I love Sammy. I got a song. Can I play? Do we have time? I can play a quick tune?
No, you don't want to do that.
It's at the end of the show.
No, if you play one, we got to give him a royalty. I don't want to do that on the show.
We ain't giving Sammy no royalties. You and I both know him for so many years.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Not when it comes to money.
No kidding.
He's going to want. He's got residuals. That's all. These guys that collect residuals, that you can't get favors. There's no favor.
But let me tell you, Sammy Kaplan, for a guy in his 80s, right? He has been kicking butt. He's got his songs in movies, television shows. Come on, you tell me.
They're not his songs. They're his father's songs.
Well, whatever. Well,
his father was a great publisher back in the day.
Right.
And left him the catalog.
Very well.
And so Sammy reactivated the catalog and made it happen again. And these are treasures. All these songs are like from the early days of blues.
Well, they're from the late 40s with Danceland Records. Then they went into the Funk Brothers and all them great soul artists that were very well unrecognized, as you know. But today they use that stuff, and a lot of people have been sampling that music. So Sammy, God bless, he's doing very well.
Oh, I love Sammy, but I wanted to bring up that he had the vision for you, and we were going to do this cooking with marijuana. Now, he kept promoting us to do this, remember? Now, we were going to do that in the clubs. Now, what we found out, that if you are cooking with marijuana in front of a live audience, that's one thing. But it has to be a long show because the fun doesn't begin until everybody gets high, which is about 20 minutes later.
20, longer than that. Edibles kick in to up to 2-3 hours later. So
what happened with Snoopy Dogg? Did he do that?
That was another lame show.
That's Martha Stewart, right? She's a cook.
Him and Martha, come on, give me a break. Martha Stewart's sitting there. And that's a lame show. But that's besides the point. The point is this. Listen, I got some products in California, now in Massachusetts. I also have my straight products, my Johnny Ciao seasonings, the spices that I've recreated, the funky wasabi, the barbecue blues. They're all available at chowspices.com.
We'll plug your stuff later, but let me ask you about this now. You know, there's plenty of time. No, we will. We'll do that at the end of the show after everybody falls in love with you.
You're the boss.
No. I'm just trying to. You know, I hate when we get people on the air and they all talk about nothing but their book, and you're not doing that. No. So what I want to bring up here is I have some of the olive oil you sent me. Is that olive oil that you sent me?
It's good, high quality olive oil. Hold on,
and it has substance in it, doesn't it?
Yes, but let me grab a bottle because I don't really use the stuff. I just make it.
Well, what am I going to do with it? I have been sober 39 years. What are you kidding? I'm sober long enough for as long as my kids have been born.
No, listen,
all right, let's see now. What do we got here?
You know what? I have bottles of this olive oil that I never even opened.
So how long is it good for? That's my question.
It's good for a while. You know.
What's a while? I have a bottle of it.
Couple of years, 2-3 years, I'm sure.
Would I be able to cook with that tonight and get off on it?
Well, the problem is if you cook with it and you exceed the 350 degree, if you're going to lose potency. So what I suggest with any of the cannabis-infused olive oils is that you utilize them toward the end of any dish, or you pour them on at the end of any dish if you want to get the effect. Okay,
so now if I really, for the most part, if I use the olive oil, I'm in Florida, you know, that's illegal here. I think so. The next thing is to call a lawyer if I want to get off.
Well, you better take my label off, man. I don't want him coming up here looking, where the hell's that guy? Ciao.
Believe me, nobody's going anywhere until this pandemic. Now, what is that? How does that apply, smoking marijuana? How does that apply to this time that people are at home alone? And
I'm actually observing that these days, and what's happened is now in Massachusetts, it's all curbside, so you have to go online, order. Medicinal is still good, But for recreational, and there's probably what 30 states. I might be off by a few. 30 states that have recreational. I believe because of like anything else, like the restaurants these days or anything else, you got to order online and then pick up curbside. So it's like an old drug deal in the ghetto. Hey, I'm coming up. I'm pulling my car up, and I'm going to pick up an ounce of good weed. Good, are you kidding? What are we getting to, man?
I felt this way the other day when I went to Best Buy. You pull up, and I felt like I was dealing with one of my dealers. You know, the way they handle everything now.
I know.
Everything's is what do they call it? There's a word that describes it. Stupid.
Well, you know, I tell you what, you know, I watched for the second time Narcos, Pablo Escobar story. And I'm thinking, what a time for people in the stores to start dealing drugs in restaurants. Don't get me wrong, I'm not into it. But the point is, they could stick it under the meatloaf and all, like the old days, listen, the record business days, Joey, you know. There was so much money floating around. I just spoke to Harvey Leeds the other day, who was running the Epic Records video division. And there was only a few of us doing music video stuff back in those days. We were the pioneers. And I pissed MTV off because I monitored them 24 hours a day and sold the information back to the labels. But anyway, you think about it, it's like, Joey, we could go on for hours here. So the thing is, you think about it, so how easy is it? In the old record days, they used to put the credit card at a fancy hotel, a fancy restaurant, and not only would they pay for the freaking meal and all the expensive wines, but they'd also get an ounce of blow with it.
Yeah, now they only do that with congressmen. Those are the guys that play the congressional records.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and believe me, it's an LP, long playing.
We don't want to go to politics, Joey, baby.
So how did we get into this whole thing of marijuana? Why is it not legal everywhere and get it over with?
Why not? Because the country needs money. I don't understand. And it should be a regulated industry like tobacco and alcohol, and the government will definitely be able to get themselves out of the red, especially with this pandemic. But who am I to tell Donald Trump? You know, I did the benefit for Trump down at Mar-a-Lago. You know about that one?
Tell us.
Well, the American Cancer Society wanted to do a benefit at Mar-a-Lago. So they called me. I come in. I was in Florida. I said, okay, I'll go down. I'll do it. So they auctioned me off. I volunteered my services, and they auctioned me now. That's my latest thing. I get auctioned off. I just wish some rich woman would buy me. Anyway, so I get down there and I go, and I'm there and I borrowed a friend. I didn't have a girlfriend. I don't have a wife, but I had no girlfriend at the time. So I borrow a friend of mine from Chicago who works on the stock market. His wife was in Florida down in Boca. I said, you mind if I borrow your wife to go? And she was well stacked. I bring her in to Mar-a-Lago. My face is on the big screen, right? When you walk in, as one of the auction items. So for 10 grand or whatever, the minimum, you get Johnny Ciao to come to your home to create a wonderful dinner for 10 people. I bring musicians, etc. So I'm standing there with this girl, this friend of mine's girl, I'm not going to mention names, his friend of mine's wife. And Donald Trump walks in, and the first one he blasted straight to me. Meanwhile, all these high society Palm Beach people are looking and going, who's that guy he's talking? So he comes to me, right? Because my name, he goes, you're up there, right? He goes, what are you doing here tonight? I said, well, they're auctioning me off as part of the auction. You got golf things, you got all kinds of items on your auction, and they're auctioning me off. He goes, oh, interesting. I said, can I have a photo? He goes, yeah, no problem. So I said, Dawn, take the photo. So here I am with Trump, took the photo. There's a couple, they've been online. Anyway, he comes back to Dawn, and he's, instead of looking at the photo, he's looking down her blouse. True story.
I can't even believe he did that.
How un-Trump of him. So, listen, I go, he goes, let's take another one. I said, okay. So I took another one with my one of my musicians who was there. He comes back. He's still looking down here. I'm like, okay, then bingo. So here's the crux of the story. Is I go inside. I'm playing harmonica on stage with the band, and they finally did the auction. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, they're not gonna bid 10 grand to do a dinner party for 10. So all of a sudden, I'm hearing 10. Start at 10. All of a sudden, some guy goes 20. Another guy goes 25. We got to 50 G's, and they bought me. You know who bought me? Bill Menon. Remember the deodorant by Menon? Yeah. That guy bought me, and I went to his house in Palm Beach, but I had to pay for the food. I had to pay for my trip back to Florida. I had to pay for my hotel room because the American Cancer Society, and I do benefits for a lot of major charitable organizations, but the American Cancer Society doesn't give you 5 cents.
Well, I think my friend Dick Robinson was the chairman at the time. Did you work with him? He owns the Connecticut Schools of Broadcasting. That's the society crowd up there in Palm Beach, And if you went to the guy from Menon, you had to keep it quiet. I guess mum's the word.
Yeah, because did you hear what happened to him later on?
No.
Oh yeah, he got busted years later for all kinds of corrupt stuff.
That's what I mean. Mum's the word.
Yeah, what am I going to tell you?
Mum is the other deodorant. That's what the pun is.
And he was a strange guy too. He was sitting upstairs in a quiet room while his wife, who was from New Jersey, was running the party. You hardly saw the guy. He was like a recluse. But it didn't matter. I did the party. I spent the extra money for the benefit. But it was quite an experience, hanging in and meeting the trumper. And he was kind of cool then. But I'm not sure he's kind of cool anymore.
I went to the at that time the woman who is the founder's wife of the Inquirer, Mrs. Pope, and I danced with her when I went to the party at the Governor's Club, which is New Year's Eve with Lester Landon's orchestra. If you remember that was a franchise, and their idea of a fireworks display was for all of us to stand at the window of the Governor's Club on the, I forget, 15th floor, I think it was. We're looking out the window and we watched them implode a Holiday Inn.
Oh, God.
That was their idea of a fireworks display, which they were counting on the demise of it anyway.
I love it.
And I had no tie, and Dick Robinson said, you can't come in if you don't have a tie, and it's amazing how snobbish it can be, and those are guys that don't have any socks. They dress with it's so not everybody looks like they're wearing polo shirts, although it's the home of Ralph Lauren.
Izod shirts, these guys.
Yeah, and the hurricane was so bad it blew all the ponies off of everybody's shirt in Palm Beach last year. But we have a tough crowd there. That they're givers. They are generous.
They are. They are.
And they give a lot of money to charity, but they want to have fun when they do it, which is okay.
And I was the guy they used to have fun.
Yeah, well, you're a party host.
Yeah, I like doing that. I do a lot of benefits. I've been doing golf tournaments for ALS. I do Make-A-Wish Foundation. I do veterans events. I'm now scheduling because I've lost a lot of gigs now because of this pandemic. But I'm doing a thing at a drive-in theater right now, a big concert.
We all are.
4th Street up here, and I know everybody's going to drive-in theaters, right? But I don't know. It's like, listen, Joey, there's been some good years. We're focusing now on the Eating Life book screenplay. I just hired a writer in Los Angeles to take my story and I created a Bible, but it's not where it should be. And I want him to go to the next level because I really think there's a story. I would like it to be a fictitious story because I really don't care whether Johnny Ciao gets the name. Because as you know, the media today, who cares? I don't care about fame. Tell my story, change my name. You look at the people who think they're celebrities today are not celebrities. This is the problem we have.
Well, it was Andy Warhol said it will be soon when everyone is famous for 15 minutes because we all were trying to get in on the act. And now with the selfies and the cell phone business, everybody is famous in 1 minute. Everybody's got 1 minute and then they're done.
Listen, Even the biggest shows on television, they show these ridiculous lame. Now, also, everyone's cooking now. Oh, yeah, because everybody's at home. Everybody's a chef.
Well, the only reason they have the CBS movies on Sunday night now is because Paramount owns CBS and through Viacom, and they get the movie free. They don't have to pay royalties. I mean, everybody thinks that there's a great generosity of a trust of a bank of people who are gifted thinkers. So what are we going to do now, John? We got a society of dunces. How are we going to put everybody together? Because it seems like we're all so damn separated, and nobody wants to agree on anything. You know, whether it's politics or the virus, the conspiracy theories. Where's all this? Is this what a free society is supposed to be? Is everybody just thinks whatever they want, does whatever they feel like it, and nobody pays any price for it? Is that it? That's the question.
I've been really assessing all this in my life, as you know, after being around the biz and living in a world where we grew up, which was somewhat normal.
I don't know what normal is. Normal is a setting on a dryer.
We were normal. I grew up in a first-generation Italian family. If I wasn't at the dinner table at 5 o'clock, it was smack in the fucking head. Excuse my French. You know.
Yeah. Well, here we go. I washed my hands of that F word that you bombed.
I'm sorry. There's no damn discipline. Then
you wash my mouth, but I gotta wash yours.
I try not to say it, and but the point is, there's no discipline today. The millennial generation and the Gen X's will never live the life that you and I and many of our associates and friends who are still alive will live. Never.
They may, because poverty is fashionable again. And they may be coming back to that. Because when we run out of money, you're going to see that this is going to be a whole different society again.
But the opportunities, Joey, well, actually, the opportunities are probably better now because of all the cell phone crap and all this stuff, because we didn't have that. We had to do things. I had to send out press kits. When I managed Hank Aaron for 4 years, my first trip to LA was taking Hank Aaron on the set of Happy Days to do an episode, okay?
Yeah.
We didn't have cell phones. We had to send press kits. We had to type our proposals, make copies, put them in a big package with videotapes, cost $10, $12 to ship. Today, all I do is press a button and everything's gone.
Well, texting is really a cold medium, though. It doesn't have the romance of conversation. You know?
Well, emails are better, but this texting, the only thing I text is it's like I'm on my way somewhere, and I got a meeting on Wall Street about a month ago, and I didn't want to go, and I'm here. Park. Okay, $62 later, I parked.
Well, it's like Western Union was having fun, send money. That's all. That's all anybody wants to do in texting, anyway. You know. It's gotten to be so. Do you think it's that when we talk about those days that we're trying to prevent people from freedom? Because this is real freedom when you can do whatever you want to do.
No, I mean, how can we prevent? Listen, those days you had to make your way. That's the story of my new screenplay and book. It's called Eating Life.
Oh, there was a plug. Wait a minute. Go ahead.
By the way, I just started a podcast. If you go to johnnychow.com, I'm on like a bunch of platforms, and I just started it just to talk a bit about the times when you can actually listen. I didn't have rich parents. I wasn't connected in Hollywood. I was able to go out, start doing concerts on my own, and I was up against the biggest ones, the major concert promoters down in Florida and in Atlanta. And I did okay, and I was able to get to the next phase. But because I've always had this vision of moving on, I never stuck with one thing. It's like you were a great DJ. I mean, you were able to go on all these great radio stations and all these markets. The thing with me is I went from radio to concerts to management to video production. I didn't stick with anything. I'm not sure that is a downfall. I think because I attained a lot of great experience, but I always wanted to move on. I never wanted to just stay with one thing. And that's always been my life. That's why I'm writing this screenplay and book. It's about, how you take your ambition and you take your ideas and you move them on. And that's something I'm not sure it's as easy. It as easy as it was, but certainly I'm trying to, get the young kids today to think, I can do this. I can do something different.
Well, I agree, and I've been doing very much like you. I was not just a disc jockey. I quit when the Beatles came along because I knew there was no more fame in being a personality, frankly. And then I went on to other things. I didn't do just one thing, John. You know that.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I changed course many times, and the reason is because I got bored. The other reason is that I thought that it was more interesting and exciting to do new things. And I'm still that way. I mean, I'm fascinated with what we have, but I don't like entirely the way we're using it. And I wish a lot of the old carcasses would just dry up and go away. They're mummies. The way that I put a wreath in front of the National Association of Broadcasters, to announce the death of radio. As it was. That doesn't mean the transmitting over towers is bad because we're still using cell phones. But I have that passion like you do. I want to do new things, and I want to use. I don't know. It's not about fame. You have to be famous to make money to be able to do the things we really want to do. It's unfortunate. We should be able to do that without raising money and without having the national fame, because that's a pain in the butt. I mean, really, it is. It's not because
we were able to do that. That's what I'm saying. You're not able to do that anymore as a young 20, 30, 40-year-old entrepreneur without money or real connections. We were in our time as entrepreneurs in the entertainment business, we were able to do things and make them happen without influence, money, or anything. We were able to get things done. I could get anybody on the phone. Listen,
well, when you were a kid and I was a kid, everybody on television was older. And now everybody's younger. Yeah. Not because we got old, but because the medium is trying to get the young people by putting young people on. They look at our faces and think that we have mileage plus, but we're not good for a flight. And that's not correct. I mean, it's actually the opposite. We have the experience and know how to avoid a lot of these things that are not entertaining. And there are some people who have celebrated mediocrity right now, and they're having great performances on television, and they're being paid a lot of money. I don't know how some of these people hold on to their jobs. I know how we didn't hold on. If you didn't have ratings, you were gone.
The money they're paying people like Ryan Seacrest to continually do shows. Doesn't he have enough shows? Every new special, everything. Not that I have anything against him. I like the guy.
Well, he's become a sequel. No, he's his own sequel.
Here's what it is, Joe.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get too crazy, but I don't care because I don't have an agent right now. Is the agents who are young are very well connected to the Madison Avenue advertising folks who are young. They're all that age where, hey, listen, I represent Ryan. Well, how about him do that new commercial for you? Or the networks. How about he does this new show? It's easy for them. It's 1, 2, 3. We're friends. Let's hook him up. There's no time anymore for new talent. That's the problem I see in Hollywood.
Well, also we've gone overboard with women now and color.
Don't get me started.
Why does everybody have to be black to get a commercial anymore? Not that. And this always gets misinterpreted. People don't like to have this discussion because they're afraid that they're going to be accused of something.
Yeah, you're going to get blown out into the Me Too movement.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Why is everybody so touchy about the thing? We say we want reality, and then you give them reality and they get mad.
Women are lost in space. I said women are lost in space. Because they don't know where the hell they want to go to. No, listen, I love women. I grew up respecting them. I always respect women. But this Me Too movement thing, listen to me. The quick one. Talk about marijuana. I'm going to tell you one other story. In the day, in the 70s, Quaaludes were everywhere. If anyone, man, woman, did a Quaalude, their bodies would go like, rubber, right?
Yeah.
Anybody would do anything because of the euphoric feeling that it gave. I should write a book about drugs too. It's a lot of drug stories in my new screenplay, by the way. But anyway, the thing that kills me is the stuff that like what Cosby went through with, well, he gave me a Quaalude. Hey, honey, it's gotten a little bit out of hand. You know, I try to say hello to women these days in supermarkets, and women are like hate men. It's like this anti-man thing going on, I find, because I've dated so many beautiful women in my life. I've had long relationships, and living in Atlanta back in the 80s, there was 7 women, 8 women for every guy. Half the guys were gay, so it was out of control. But I was always like a gentleman. I'm a gentleman. I'll cook for you. I'll clean your freaking house, honey. What's the problem? I don't understand. Where is she? I want to find her. One of these days, when I find her, I'm going to put her on a pedestal.
And bring her back, and we'll do the show together with her. All right. So where do we go to find you now? On the website?
All right. So we got the seasonings going on Amazon soon. We can get them on my website. Hey, I got the barbecue blues, baby. I got the soulful Thai, and I got the wacky with funky wasabi, which is the best. If you like wasabi, it's not hot, but it's got that sweet flavor. Find them at the Ciao Spices, CIAO, Ciao. Don't spell me like a Chinaman because I'll kill you. CIAO Spices.com or Johnny Ciao, CIAO.com. Everybody thinks I'm Chinese, Joey.
Well, thanks for being here today. I'm really you made my day, and you are officially a member of the Finger Fantasy.
I love you, Joey Reynolds.
Thank you. Me too, John.
All right, man. Stay in touch.
Can I use an olive oil now?
Why don't you do a shot of olive oil?
Let us smile over your umbrella, but don't get a mouthful of rain.